it's about time we get into the whole controversy of BCAAs versus EAAs. Let's go.
225, 225, 225, 25, 25, 225, 225, 225.
All right, welcome back to another episode of That Guy Health. I'm so happy to have you here. I've been talking about making this video for a while, and I've been trying to deliberate on how to make it so it's not as long and we get to the information that you need. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to give you your answers up front here, and then the video will go into detail about how these things actually may work on a moderate to surface level, and then I'm going to tell you what I do to take full advantage of EAAs and BCAAs and why I do it. So the answer to some of these questions are, which one is better? And I think that both of them are equally as good depending on how you take them. Does it matter what company, what brand you take? Yes, it does. Core Nutritionals, along with maybe a couple of other companies, make quality BCAAs or EAAs. And another thing is this: do you have to take them frequently in order to get the process that you want? Well, that answer is going to come in the video because you need to know a little bit more about what's going on in order to decide that. So let's get into the video. So let's dive into the information. Okay, so as you see here, I have basically the supplements that I take on a day-to-day basis, all right? I'm gonna start my morning off with protein, creatine, and then I'm gonna have my intra workout, and then I'll have this kind of as pretty much not kind of a supplement for coffee if I don't have coffee, which I usually have black coffee every day, and then I'll have another cup, so I'll put this in for that second cup, all right? And there's a reason for that. But before we go into that, we're gonna go over this study, okay? Now this study was not done by me, it was done by Frontiers in Physiology, all right? And I'm gonna put the link to this document below in the description, so if you want, you can go ahead, click it, download it, view it as we go through it, because there are a few pages that I have marked in here that contain information that are going to help us come to the deliberation of which one is better or not. All right, let me get the cell phone turned off so we're not easily disturbed here. Okay, so let's go over a few terms. All right, mTORC. All right, mTORC, a mechanistic target of rapamycin complex 1. Now, this is going to be the signaling for MPS, which is muscle protein synthesis. This in its entirety is the process that is going to take protein to repair muscle fibers to then, depending on how you're training and what you're doing, help us have hypertrophy, which is making the muscle bigger, all right? So we need mTORC, which is the signaling, MPS, which is the muscle protein synthesis process of taking proteins and healing muscle fibers and or building muscle fibers to create hypertrophy, which is to get the muscle to be bigger, all right? Another thing is EAAs, essential amino acid. Then we have BCAAs, which is branched chain amino acids, all right? Keep those in mind. If you didn't know, now you know what those acronyms stand for, okay? We're not gonna assume people know everything. I don't know everything, you might not know, but this will help us as we go through the information so you have an idea when you hear these acronyms, what they actually stand for. So here in this document, the first thing that I look for on the first page is, it says that we conclude that ingesting BCAAs alone increases the post-exercise stimulation of myofibrillar MPS and status of mTORC signaling, okay? So they say that they conclude ingestion of BCAAs alone increases the post-exercise stimulation, all right? So right there we got BCAAs are a factor, okay? As we go, and we're gonna go through this is not gonna be in depth. There are several other videos from more educated people in this field. They might not be certified personal trainers, but they study science to the T and have collected a degree for it. They can go more in depth in explaining all the process. They go layers and layers and layers. I mean, it's such a process from getting the mTORC, also the Golgi, to translocate from the Golgi to actually become active, because while it's on the Golgi, it's inactive. All right, there, it goes pretty deep, but we're gonna keep it surface to moderate level. Now it says more recent evidence, and this is on page 2, from studies in rodents and cell culture models suggests the stimulation of MPS by EAAs may be mediated by a few amino acids rather than a combination of all amino acids. Now that right there, I'm going to read this one part so that you understand, that you see where we're going, where they're taking this, and then we're going to tie it all together. So it says, may be mediated by a few amino acids rather than a combination of all EAA, essential amino acids. So they're saying there are a few amino acids within the chains of EAAs that are most likely the primary, or let's say priority amino acids that you'll need for this process. Let's go further. The branched chain amino acids, BCAAs, leucine has been shown to play a unique role in stimulating MPS. All right. Leucine serves as a substrate for the synthesis of new muscle proteins and as a signal to initiate the rate limiting translation initiation step of MPS. Okay, so right there, we've got leucine being a priority or a primary act in the muscle protein synthesis. Okay, so leucine is one of the amino acids. Both in EAA and BCAA, leucine does exist in both of those mixtures, okay? So we'll go further now because we're not going to the whole document. I highlighted some things, we're going to tie it up. So now it says, whereas the inclusion of leucine is necessary for maximal activation of mTORC signaling, recent results from the same research group show that mTORC signaling is enhanced with addition of the other two branch chain amino acids, valine and isoleucine. Okay, so right there, the 3 BCAAs are already being highlighted as essential things. We're not going to say essential because that's going to go to EAAs, but are primary amino acids that are needed or included in having this MPS process and mTORC signaling go on, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? Because right now, a lot of people out here, the whole controversy of EAAs are better than BCAAs or BCAAs are better than EAAs, we're coming to see, okay, branched chain amino acids are primary. Okay, so maybe is that all we need or not? We're going to get further into this. So as they come down, it also says, now we just got valine, isoleucine, and we had leucine up top, all right? Thus, the response of MPS to BCAA ingestion is still uncertain, okay? Still uncertain about a couple of things, all right? In humans, the ingestion of leucine alone has been shown to stimulate an increased response of MPS at rest. Moreover, enriching a suboptimal does off intact protein with additional leucine has been shown to increase the response of MPS equivalent to an optimal 25-gram protein dose at rest. Okay, so in there, depending on the company that you're using, hopefully they're using quality ingredients and therefore have a good amino acid makeup within your protein powder. Okay, we're going to get into this. By the way, discount code if you want to order core, because that's what I use, quality product. I want to put that discount code right there. Take it, give to you whenever, and you can also use it on top of discounts that are already available on core. You can also go to the website, www.thatguyhealth.com, click gains, and just start shopping, all right? So 25-gram protein dose at rest. However, studies investigating the influence of leucine co-ingestion with EAA or intact protein on the stimulation of MPS in young men report equivocal results, whereas the addition of leucine to whey protein failed to enhance the post-exercise response of MPS. So they're talking about post-exercise, okay? They're talking about getting this to happen post-exercise, ingesting these EAAs or protein after you finish working out. They did not see a response to that. Hence why probably majority of supplement makers call this an intra workout when they sell the BCAA. Is an intra during the process of you training and putting your muscles under stress, okay? So then we go in here, and this is my take, all right? This is my take on it. This is how I digested and went through the information and came to the process in which I use, and I'm going to explain my process. So now we got, while the response of MPS to leucine provision with or without an intact protein source is well characterized, to our knowledge, no study has successfully determined the response of MPS to the independent ingestion of all three BCAAs, leucine, isoleucine, and valine, combined. Concurrent ingestion of intact protein or other macronutrients following resistance exercise. Now, again, all of that being said, they are still talking about ingesting BCAAs post-exercise to therefore get an additional signaling of mTORC to create the MPS process, okay? All right, so still post, murky right there, all right? So there's an ample evidence that BCAA ingestion stimulates mTORC signaling. However, the post-exercise response of MPS to BCAA ingestion remains unknown. So we're just going to say that if you work out based off of their research, not mine, based off of their research, ingesting BCAAs post-workout alone is really not showing any major progress, all right? Hence why this is probably called an intra. But still, you got to keep in mind, what levels of BCAAs do you need? EAAs do you need? And prior, them being in your system, or what the case may be. But we're going to get into that, how I do things. Okay, so fractional synthesis rate is FSR. All right, so let's get past this. Go to this next page. All right, so at this point of their study, they ended up having a few participants get ill and sick, and they fell off, so they had to continue the study with what they had left. And I believe it says data shown for 10 other participants, okay? So only 10 participants completed this study due to illness. The other ones were dismissed. Okay, now it says using dual x-ray, basically a DEXA scan. All right, now I do DEXA scans, and I've had it on a video here where I show you what I go get a DEXA scan. And just in short, a DEXA scan is going to be a scan of your body, not a 3D body scan where it just scans the outside. DEXA scan is going to see what's inside the body, give you a ratio of your composition, your body composition from fat to lean mass, all right, bone density, and a whole bunch of other things that are very beneficial to you, especially if you're going to compete or you want to get a handle on your fat loss, muscle gain. They're going to give you a lot of information that will help you figure out your way. But move past that, they're using the DEXA to basically evaluate the muscle lean mass growth compared to fat growth, all right? So it says right here, BCAAs contain 5.6 grams of BCAAs, which is equivalent to the typical BCAA content of a 20-gram whey protein, all right? So 20 grams of whey protein should be comprised of 5.6 grams of BCAA. If your protein, and I'm saying this from a personal standpoint, does not have that, to me, that is not a quality protein. And we will go into the makeup of Core ISO. Actually Core Pro, and I will tell you what that makeup is, and you'll see why I take Core Pro along with the rest of this. All right. So matter of fact, I'll tell you what, let's go over this right now. Core Pro. All right, protein, newly designed bottle, like I said, discount code. Approximately 1 scoop is going to give you 25 grams of protein. Within that 1 scoop, you are getting an entire chain of essential amino acids, branch chain amino acids, and more, right? They got alanine, arginine, cytidine, they got the glutamine, they got the glycine, they got the isoleucine, the leucine, the lysine, they have it all. The phenylalanine, they got all of it in there right there on the label. I'll put it up. Some of these names, you know, they're just like, you got to go over and over them to pretty much pronounce them, but I'll put that label up right there so you can see the makeup of that. That is quality, okay? They're giving you the amino acids, the essential amino, they're giving you all the amino acids right there with that. But glutamine is another component that also helps stimulate mTORC, okay? So keep that in mind. If you have just a BCAA, see if they have a glutamine additive in there, and I'm pretty sure, yeah. See, glutamine additive in the BCAA of Core Nutritionals, and that also helps stimulate mTORC, okay? So let's get back into this. So they went through a whole, you know, exercise load test, all and they increased by 5 to 10% by taking BCAAs, okay? They gave them leucine, isoleucine, and valine. And if you look at a good BCAA like core ABC, you're gonna have leucine, isoleucine, valine, and the glutamine to help with that translocate of the mTORC. They got beta alanine, which is also going to give you a little bit of a type of stimulant, I believe, and they have the MALI in there. All right, so a complete makeup of the entire branch chain amino acid plus something to help translocate mTORC. Keep that in mind as well. So, okay, that's why I take the ABC. That's why I use core period. So if we skip ahead, we're going to go in here. Like I said, this video is not going to be too in depth because a lot of people don't want to wait 20 minutes to go through it. If you want to do that, you can watch a documentary. I'm just going to take you through some key points of this research paper. Like I said, I have it linked below in the description. You can go over it. Now at the end, I'm going to tell you what I do because of what I think works for me and helps me get that hypertrophy, that muscle recovery, the amino acids, and the branch chain amino acids. Okay, now it says right here, the present study demonstrated that the ingesting of all 3 BCAAs alone without concurrent ingestion of EAAs, protein or macronutrients, stimulated a 22% greater response of myofibrillar MPS following resistance exercise compared with placebo. Now, I'm going to read that again. The present study demonstrated that ingesting all 3 BCAAs alone without concurrent ingestion of other EAAs, protein, macronutrients stimulated a 22% increase, okay? BCAAs alone without any of the other stuff stimulated myofibrillar MPS, all right? Then it says a little further down, taken together, these results demonstrated that BCAAs exhibit the capacity to stimulate myofibrillar MPS. However, a full complement of EAA could be necessary to stimulate a maximal response of myofibrillar MPS following resistance exercise. So now we go from, we got a good reaction, 22% greater than placebo with just the BCAAs alone, to combining BCAAs and EAAs to get a maximal, or let's say optimal, response of the MPS. All right. Now it says, moreover, recent study or results demonstrate that the presence of valine and isoleucine enhanced the response of mTORC to leucine. However, results from the present study suggest that ingesting BCAAs alone without other EAs provides limited substrate for protein synthesis and exercise muscles. Thus, the overall response of MPS is not maximized. So along with the BCAAs, although you got a response, without macronutrients and other EAAs, it was not maximized, okay? Not maximized. This data suggests that leucine alone may be sufficient to stimulate MPS following exercise, provided by minimal amounts of EAAs is included. Leucine seems to be the most important amino acid for stimulation of the translation initiation pathways, okay? So, leucine seems to be the most important amino acid in this process. Thus, it is possible that leucine is solely responsible for the stimulation of MPS we report here. On the other hand, recent data suggested that there is a greater stimulatory effect on mTORC when valine and isoleucine are consumed alongside leucine. Nevertheless, taken together, these past and present data suggest that the availability of EAAs may be a critical factor for the optimal response of MPS following resistance exercise. Since the ingestion of BCAAs alone stimulates myofibrillar MPS but does not increase the supply of all EAAs, the overall response of myofibrillar MPS following resistance exercise is limited. So here we go, kind of back and forth with this effect, right? BCAAs, EAAs, what are you starting to see? You should start to see a pattern here that is telling you something, that all of this debating and all of this hype that a lot of people, especially supplement companies, are blasting EAAs are better than BCAAs and they only make an EAA. And other companies, BCAAs are better than EAs and they only make a BCAA. There is looking to me, I don't know about you, that to be some marketing bullshit going on, all right? So, you know, you always got to have a supply and demand, and it seems like you always got to have different opposing side, protagonists, antagonists to create this demand. But maybe as enthusiasts, people who work out, people that buy these products, we should know a little bit better by us educating each other and seeing that that's bullshit. Okay, so let's go into this. BCAAs has been shown to influence muscle protein metabolism through MPB as well as MPS. All right, so now we're going to get to this conclusion. I'm going to read this conclusion, then I'm going to go through what I do and tell you why I do it and how I came to arrive at that. All right. To conclude, the ingestion of BCAAs alone without the concurrent ingestion of EAAs, intact protein, or other macronutrients increases the stimulation of mTOR activity by myofibrillary MPS following exercise and resistance training young men. Our data support the notion that BCAA ingestion alone does not maximally stimulate MPS following exercise despite the stimulation of translation and initiation pathways. The lack of sufficient EAA appears to limit the response of myofibrillary MPS following exercise. Thus, whereas our data clearly show the BCAA ingestion activates cell signaling pathways with the result in increased MPS ingestion of BCAAs alone may not be optimal nutrients regimen to stimulate a maximal MPS response to resistance exercise training. All right, boom. Now, I'm citing this below, giving them full credit of their study, utilizing some of their information. This is for informational purpose only, right there. Now, I'm going to tell you what I got out of that research study told me this. BCAAs alone is not optimal. EAAs alone is not optimal. Okay, but the three main ingredients that are definitely in here that definitely make the biggest difference, because you didn't hear a lot about the other ones, are, what was it? Valine, leucine, and isoleucine, which are the three main ingredients in the branched chain amino acid, BCAAs. So one could debate and say that taking this, as long as you look and see if they got a glutamine also in it, is just fine for you. Another person could say that I would rather have the full makeup of amino acids. Why? Because isoleucine, leucine, and valine are also in an EAA. So, and we also see that in this research, although you get a good response from BCAAs and a response from EAAs, you get a maximal response if you have the entire makeup in your system. So this is what I do, all right? I'm not worried about BCAAs being better than EAAs or EAAs being better than BCAAs. I'm worried about me getting the best and the most out of my supplements that I can get. And what I gather from there is I'm going to encompass both within my daily regimen. In the morning, I start off with Core Pro, because it has a full makeup of EAAs, BCAAs, and it has the protein right there, complete in the morning. So in the morning, I'm starting off with a fast-acting protein. My body's absorbing it. I'm getting a full makeup of amino acids, getting there in the morning in the body to go ahead and start the process of ingestion. That way, by the time I get to training, because I train 2 to 3 times a day, I should be having this signaling process go on. All right. By midday to the afternoon, I then again have branched chain amino acids. Intro workout. During the course of me working out, I'm consuming branched chain amino acids, the main 3 that are important. And one could debate based off this study that the leucine, the leucine is the most important. All right. And that is in here at 5 grams. The leucine leads at 5 grams, isoleucine at 2.5, valine at 2.5, glutamine at 2.5. But the leucine, because that was said in here to be the most important, is at 5 grams, okay? So then I have that. Like I said earlier, to replace a cup of coffee if need be, A, B, C, D, because it has a caffeine additive. It also has the leucine, isoleucine, valine, the beta-alanine, and it has the caffeine additive inside of it, okay? So there you go. This entire pack right here, if you had the money to, this is what you could take daily. Taking this daily with good nutrients, with a good eating schedule, good quality macros, good quality supplements, and quality exercise, you should be maximizing your entire system with that right here, this stack. All of that pre-workout, all that stuff is like, okay, cool. All the core tests, I like it, I take it, it has its place. All the hardening agents, all the other stuff, cool. This right here is by far, to me, the big three is the most important. This is the most important stack that you could probably get, especially as a natural, anybody, period. But as a natural, your money should go into a good quality protein with a good amino acid makeup, a good quality BCAA, and a good quality BCAA with a caffeine additive to supplement for that whole pre-workout notion that you think you need. I take that right there. That is my go-to, all right? Now, if you don't have the money and you need to be mindful of what you're doing and how you're training, you might be just good with that right there. Core Pro. You got a good quality protein, you got a good quality amino acid makeup, there you go. If you have the money right here, you're good with just those two. Now you got your good quality complete amino acid makeup, EAAs, and then you have your intra supplement, BCAAs. You're good to go. This right here, you really don't even need it, but you can include it if you need a little kicker, a little something, a little extra energy, and get your BCAAs in while you're doing it. Please keep in mind, all these have dosage amounts, limitations throughout the day. Believe this is like no more than 2 to 3 times a day, no more than 2 to 3 times a day. So what I do is I might have 2 scoops of this, 1 scoop of that. I'm maxed out for the day. I'm done. All right. So listen, I hope that this information helped. I really was trying to go about how I was going to deliver it because this can get so long and so boring and people are like, you know, all the controversy. But like I said, I linked this study below. Go into it, read it for yourself, see what you come out with, and then go from there. But the most important thing to take from it is both of them combined together, to me, seems to be the best bet with good macros. I don't have a controversy about it. I don't think one's better than the other. I think comprised of both is where you go. I don't think you're wrong if you go just with BCAAs. I don't think you're wrong if you go with just EAAs. But together, you maximize, and that's what I do. So you all take it easy. Thanks for coming to the channel. I will see you again. Don't forget to come back. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Sharing is caring. Be safe. Let's build together. Peace.